Then I got an email, and it's from Dave in Westerville, and he said, hey, Blitz family, I had the strangest request. My son asked if his fourth grade friend could spend the night this coming weekend. I said, sure. Just have his mom call me and I'll set it up. So the mom calls and says her son could stay on one condition, that she gets to stay over too.
Yeah.
She said she gets too nervous letting her son sleep away from the house, that she could...
Don't worry.
That she would just feel better if she could be over too. That yeah thing.
I'll comfort the nervousness right out of you.
She said if we weren't comfortable with that, then she could just pick him up at 8 a.m. before bedtime, or 8 p.m. before bedtime. I never heard of such a thing. I clearly don't want this woman that I don't know sleeping in my guest room, but my son really wants her son to stay. So I'm considering it. What do you think? Have you ever heard of this?
You're doing it all wrong.
This is
you got to eliminate the guest room out of this equation.
Wait a minute. How do you know his wife isn't there? Now, if he's
maybe they're
single,
down for a little group play.
If he's single and the mom is single, maybe she does have an ulterior motive. I don't know. But let's just stick to what he's asking. Have you heard of this?
It is a little odd.
I've heard of moms doing like sleepovers when the kids want to do sleepovers, like the moms get together and have like their own party and sleepover as well. I've heard of that. I've also heard of moms not letting their children ever do sleepovers because the percentage of kids who have been sexually abused in their lives, it happens at sleepovers, not necessarily from the family that they're sleeping over, but maybe the older brother has a friend stay over, and that friend abuses the kid, and parents are not putting up with risking anything like that anymore. So I get why this woman wants to spend the night.
Okay.
That is a true statistic. That is a true statistic. I worked with a abused children's charity for a lot of years, and the stories would make your head spin.
Yeah, with the overnight.
There's a lot of times. And the sad thing is the parents of the friend will have the best intentions in the world and have no idea that something like that happens.
Now, did you know that she mentioned picking the kid up just before bedtime?
I've had that happen before. I've had friends that weren't allowed to spend the night, and their parents have come to get them right before... Okay, went to bed. So that is more common than the other parents sleeping over. That's a new one for me. But I also, if you grew up in the 90s, you had sleepovers. It was no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did you know that that's called a sleep under? If the parent picks the kid up right before bedtime? Have you ever heard that term?
I don't need a name for it.
I never heard the term before.
I never have either.
I don't know. It's kind of odd. Of course, Ryan says, well, she's hot and single. That's a... Slow
ball down the middle of the page.
Home run. Okay. Oh, home run.
Just threw one right over the plate right there. I go, Ryan, you and I are speaking the same language, buddy. I got you.
Toman says first-time parent right there, because that was the first thing I thought was helicopter mom.
You think so?
Yeah, just, hovering over this kid's every move. But maybe what if you guys talk about the worry about because stuff happens. I get that. I do. I really do.
You have multiple kids. Were you more worried the first time than you were the second time? Were both of you? I'm just asking because I'm not we're not technically parents, so it was a little different. But I will tell you, I worried far more about, and still do, worried far more about the girl than I did
of course.
The boy.
Absolutely you do. And I think that's everybody. I think it's always been that way,
But I'm just wondering, were you as a parent, were you more protective the first time around before you adapted to, before you understood how things work, I guess is the better way to describe it.
It gets easier after the first. The first one's always going to be the
That's
one.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, because you're new to everything.
Right.
And then the second time with the second kid, it's like, yeah, I've seen this before. It's nothing to worry about. That's nothing to worry about.
Right.
I would have worried the first time, but not the second.
That's what I mean. Maybe she's in that.
Easier.
Maybe she's in that stage where she doesn't know.
Well, yeah, and that's why Toman said first time parent right there.
Well, and I think if you judge by when we grew up as opposed to when kids are growing up now, there were dangers, but there weren't quite as many. You know what I mean?
Man, no, it's nothing like it is now.
And I think neighbors. Would you guys agree that when we were growing up, it felt like you trusted your neighbors more than you probably do now?
I knew my neighbors back then.
That's what I mean.
I know my neighbors very superficially right now. But back then,
Yeah.
we were all hanging out
Yeah.
That's what I
all the
mean.
time.
Yes.
The parents and the kids.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. When you came home and you did something bad, the whole damn neighborhood
Right.
knew you did something bad.
Right.
That is so true.
Like you did, if you walked down the street, it was the walk of shame. Forget hooking up with somebody at the bar and walking home the next morning. The true walk of shame is when you pissed off somebody and the whole neighborhood knew about it.
Oh yeah, Kelly's grounded.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Kelly's grounded
that
for the
is-
next week.
Oh my gosh, you are so
Scarlet
right.
letter right there.
Yeah, that is so true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because now, if a kid in our neighborhood now got in trouble, nobody else
would
would
know.
know about it.
Right.
But
if you didn't take the trash out, I know you didn't take those trash cans out last night. Like everybody did.
Yeah, your across the street neighbors going, I see Lewis didn't do the
Yeah.
job again this
Take
week.
the trash cans out, you little lazy F. Like,
oh my gosh, yeah, and you would hear about it.
Right.
As a kid, when I was a kid, I
Right.
would hear it. Oh, I heard what you did. Da, 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 da.
I wouldn't even be
It's like,
surprised
oh
if,
my
like,
God.
and I can't remember it, but I would not be surprised if, like, your parents put that in the argument. And now the whole neighborhood knows what you did.
Our parents used to say that. They did. Now now we have to move.
My mom was involved in like this big, like all the women in our neighborhood. There were probably 10 of them, my mom's age, and they all got together once a month, and they call it club. They made a club. And if I tell you that all of us kids tried to listen in when it was being held at our house, like you would try to listen because all they did was gossip about everyone's kids.
Yeah.
We're like, let's find out the scoop. So we're like leaning close to the party area, and
Right.
trying to get all that. Yeah,
So that's what I mean. Like,
it's not
I
like
don't,
that anymore.
I don't know that still goes on these. I mean, we're kind of close with some of our neighbors,
I'm sure some neighborhoods are special like that,
but not everybody. I mean, especially if you live in like a condo complex or whatever, you don't necessarily have the interaction with your neighbors that, you know what I mean? So
Larry says, first off, you have to find out if the mom is a Blitz listener. If so, she can stay. If not, well, he doesn't need that kind of negativity in his house.
My only problem with this scenario is this is a guy, right? We don't know if he's married. Maybe he's married, maybe he's not. But what's happening is that his kid wants to have a sleepover, and then all of a sudden the parents roped in, like to entertain some stranger. I don't like that. I wouldn't like that as a parent. I would say, hey, I completely understand where you're coming from. Absolutely. Why don't you just come pick him up at 8? We'll have a great time, and I'll let you know what
Yeah.
we're going to be doing, or we're going to. You can join us for pizza or whatever. Like, happy to have you over, but we're not doing a sleepover.
guarantee that kid, if it was 8 o'clock pickup, was pissed. 8?
You call
That's when
them
all
off.
the fun starts. I gotta go home. We just got food at 7:45.
Mac says we lived in toxic neighborhoods.
We did.
Toxic? Oh no, we lived in. I would never call it toxic. I wonder what made him say that.
I don't know. I guess like they
Well, but I mean,
everybody knows everything about each other. I don't know.
somewhere like the pendulum swung, because used to be like your neighborhood, it took a village to raise someone, and now it's don't you tell me how to raise my kid. Like, I wouldn't want, you don't want your neighbors telling you how to discipline if your kid's in trouble. It's none of your neighbor's business. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like somehow that
Yeah.
all shifted.
It was kind of like a mini family, your
Yeah.
street, and the people that you grew up with and the parents and all that. It was kind of everybody looked out for each other. So I would not call that toxic at all.
Sean in Newark said, when I was a teenager, I got in trouble, and the cops had to come to my house when they left in the middle of being chewed out by my dad. He threw in how the neighbors seen the cops coming and going and how embarrassing it was. I had that problem. I got brought home in a police car one day.
Did you start bouncing checks young?
No, but I was in a toy theft ring, and damn it if I...
Wait, what?
I never told you guys this story?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Okay, so I was in a toy theft ring. There was a...
Now you're being serious.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make this up. There was a toy. There was a like I don't know what you would call it. I guess it would be equivalent to what like a Big Lots is now. At the top of our street, growing up, this was when I was in elementary school. I mean, I was probably fifth grade. We would go up to the store and we would steal toys. And the one time I went, I didn't need anything. Like, I had everything I wanted out of that collection at the time, but I went with my friends because they wanted something. And damned if they didn't get caught and I was with them. And they brought us all home in the police car.
How old are we talking?
I was probably, 8 maybe.
Oh my God.
8 or 9 maybe. But they brought them home, and my mom was so mad, screamed at me, wouldn't let me hang out with the neighbor kids. And truthfully, I was the leader of the theft ring. I just happened to not need anything that day, so I didn't have any stolen merchandise on me. But yeah, but the whole neighborhood, the ride of shame in the police car, and everybody knew it. My parents were pissed. Even my grandma was mad.
Oh my gosh!
Whole neighborhood knows what you did.
Do you know what you've done? They're all talking about the Lewis Mafia. We have to sell the house.
Yeah, so
Jeez.
Started young, didn't
I
you?
did.
Charlene said, "Don't let the mom stay. Offer to let your kids stay at her house."
Well, that is a solution. Yes.
Okay, Mac said gossiping about neighbors and shaming them is toxic. That's what he was talking about.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Madison's losing it over the toy theft ring. Me too. That's ridiculous. Alan said the memories y'all are bringing back is great. Lived in a two street light town. So lights on, better be home, or the farmer down the road. I seen that boy. I'm telling your dad and grandpa. That was Alan.
John said I got caught stealing candy from the store next door when I was 5. I walked out with it. I just didn't think I needed money to get the things I wanted at the time, which is true.
Boy, you were 5. No, I get that. I probably did that too.
Neighborhoods have changed, because I literally did. When I was a little kid, I remember we'll go to the toy theft thing. When I came home, I was shocked my parents didn't invite the entire neighborhood over to to spank me all together collectively, gladiatorial times where, all right, everybody gets a lash.
This was good. Matt said, my parents would always say, it looks bad on us when he would get in trouble, and the whole church would know what he did.
Now you've done God and pissed off Jesus.